Hey everyone, welcome to my Tomb Raider Remastered review. So a good few people were asking if I could please just make a standalone video with my thoughts, both negative and positive, about the recently released Tomb Raider 1 to 3 Remastered. Of course, this video is going to be just ahead of the release of the second set of remasters of Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6, which I'm very excited about and will speak about briefly at the end of the video. But without further yapping, let's get straight into my review. So I played Tomb Raider 1 to 3 Remastered basically as soon as it released. I bought and played this game on PC, so that's just important to note. I'm only reviewing the PC version. I haven't seen or played the console versions. So of course I'm going to start off with the positives about the Tomb Raider Remastered. I thought the team at Aspyr did an amazing job with staying faithful to the originals. The graphical updates were beautiful in this game, but you also really got the feeling that these were Tomb Raider fans working on this game. They stayed very faithful to the original, kept the essence and everything that is so loved about the original in place, and I was just in awe. For anyone who doesn't know, I have been a Tomb Raider fan my entire life. Since I was 6 years old, I have loved Lara Croft and Tomb Raider. I played the original 1996 game on PS1. I played all of the original classic games in their PS1 form back in the day, and I have followed and loved the franchise ever since then. And so I was of course a tiny bit worried that I wouldn't enjoy the remasters because I love the originals so much, but they did an amazing job on these. And I actually do think if I was to play Tomb Raider 1, 2, or 3 again, I would pick the remastered version. As I said, it still has the same magic and amazingness of the original, just in better graphics, and it's a lot easier to get it to run on modern PC. And yeah, I just thought it was absolutely amazing. I cried a few times in my playthrough, but it was really nice and emotional to see these games in this form. I also love how a lot of original bugs and issues found in the games were fixed. The two main ones that come to mind right now are restoring Lara's braid in the first Tomb Raider game, and also making the unreachable Medipack in Temple of Xi'an now reachable. The people working on these games, they really knew the originals, they really were fans of the originals, and they knew what fans would want to see in a remaster. I was also so unbelievably happy at the original ideas that were restored in some cases, and the main example of this that I can think of is restoring Lara's originally intended outfit in Nightmare in Vegas. I have always loved that outfit. In fact, I played the non-remastered version of that level on my channel and used a mod to put that outfit on her. I've always loved it, and I always thought it was so sad that they were told, no, you can't have her in this outfit, you have to put her in classic. So it was really, really nice to see that original idea actually brought to life. That made me so happy. And also I loved how they swapped the levels back around in Unfinished Business and put the Atlantean levels first, as they were originally intended by the level designer. So all those small things just made my heart so happy as a Tomb Raider fan. You could tell the amount of love that was put into restoring and remastering these games. I think another huge positive about the remasters was the inclusion of modern controls. Now, I will be fully honest, I didn't play with modern controls. Tank controls are in my DNA when it comes to classic Tomb Raider, and I just couldn't get my head around the modern controls, but I do think their inclusion was amazing and really important for anybody new to the classic Tomb Raider franchise who would maybe really struggle with tank controls because they are very clunky and finicky. So I think including modern controls to hopefully open up the games to a wider audience was a really great and positive inclusion. And also being able to toggle between remastered and original graphics was a really nice touch. It was really fun actually during my playthroughs to be able to switch between the two to compare and see, you know, the improvements that they had made, and especially if you couldn't fully remember maybe what something looked like before, that was a really, really nice feature that was included as well. And I think one of the main positive aspects from these remasters was making the 3 gold expansions now easily playable for everybody. Because if you don't know, back in the day, these were PC only expansions that were released, and up until these remasters came out, you either had to get your hands on one of those original PC discs to play them and then do a lot of fiddly things on your computer to make it work, which is what I did, or you needed to find some kind of online link and again download a bunch of stuff and everything to play these levels. So that is a huge thing and a huge positive for Tomb Raider fans, is making these gold expansions of Unfinished Business, Golden Mask and The Lost Artifact widely playable and available to everybody. That is just so amazing. Also, I think one of the most amazing inclusions was photo mode. That just created so much fun. It was great to be able to even just use it to zoom in and look at things that you wanted to inspect further, and also of course being able to just take a bunch of funny pictures and poses with Lara. And I personally enjoyed seeing people share all of their really great photos and everything on Instagram. I thought that was really fun and really brought a lot of the Tomb Raider community together to share all of those images and stuff. So I really enjoyed that. I also really loved how the remastered team listened to feedback from fans, and the main example of this that comes to mind is we were all asking for outfit selection. We wanted to be able to wear whichever outfit we wanted in whichever level and Tomb Raider game we wanted to wear it, and the team took that on board and introduced that as a feature in one of the later patches. So again, I feel like they were making this for Tomb Raider fans and they wanted to make it as amazing an experience as they could for us fans, and they wanted to listen to feedback. And of course, another amazing addition was the inclusion of trophies. I know a bunch of people who had so much fun trophy hunting. It also, I think, made a lot of people aware of different bugs and different kind of fun challenges and stuff that you can do in Tomb Raider that maybe they weren't aware of before. And then linked into that, the inclusion of New Game Plus was also amazing. It was great for players like me who maybe have played the originals, I don't know, so many times before. We know it like the back of our hand. So it was nice as well to feel like we got an extra challenge, something new to try and figure out how can we complete this game on this super extra difficult mode. I thought that was amazing. And again, it just showed the thought, the love and the care that went into this remaster. They completely exceeded my expectations and what I thought we were going to get with these games. When they were first announced, I was excited but also cautious about them, because I thought, okay, well, don't get too excited and then be disappointed when they come out and it's just a little bit of a facelift to the graphics and that's it. But I needn't have bothered to be cautious because what we got was so much more than that. Yes, the new graphics were beautiful and amazing, but all of the other restorations and additions just made this so amazing. But of course, like everything, I do have some criticism and negative points, so I will get into those now. My main criticism of the remasters is that they made the crocodiles and sharks way too realistic looking. Okay, so that's kind of a joke one for anyone who doesn't know. I am terrified of water. I have thalassophobia, and I'm also terrified of things like crocodiles and sharks. So that was a little bit traumatic for me to have to deal with those in much better graphics. But of course, that's not an actual negative point I'm making about the game. That was just a little joke for me. But to get into my serious negative feedback, my biggest issue with the remasters was that the games were released unfinished, in my opinion. Now, I'm not blaming the developers or the team who worked on this. They don't set the deadlines. I think whoever set this deadline probably set a very unrealistic deadline to get these games fully finished and polished up before they would be released. We see that this happens, unfortunately, quite often with games now, and then we get into the endless release of patches to fix things. And as we all know, I am not a fan of that. I would rather wait longer for something to release fully finished. And that was my biggest criticism of this. It was released unfinished. There were a good few issues that I noticed when I was first playing the game, like the famous invisible keys in the cistern, that weird water glitch that I got where a painting would appear in a square instead of a water texture, and that almost caused me to get eaten by a crocodile, and I was very unhappy about that. Skyboxes missing, unfinished graphics. Personally, I just don't feel that it is okay to release a game unfinished. Again, I'm not blaming the developers, not blaming the team who worked on it. That is not their call. But I personally do feel that it's not really acceptable to release a game unfinished. And then it made me feel sad because I had played a lot when it first came out and I had moved through the game quite quickly. So when they started dropping patches, I felt like I missed out on some stuff. I didn't get to see the inclusion of the skybox in the Palace Midas level. I didn't get to see a lot of additions in the Tomb Raider 2 underwater levels. So yeah, it made me feel quite sad that I had missed out on that and made me feel like, well, why did I bother buying this and playing it as soon as it came out? I should have just waited until they had patched and fixed everything and then played. So yeah, that was probably my biggest criticism of the remasters. My second biggest negative point about them is the unremastered FMVs. I was so disappointed when I saw that. I was expecting remastered or redone FMVs. I think it looks quite odd and weird to have this beautifully remastered game in all other aspects, and all of the in-game cutscenes are all remastered, and then to have the FMVs just be the original. It looks very weird and odd and jarring, and I just feel like personally that's something that should have been done. So that was a huge letdown for me with these. And another thing that I want to mention is that some of the original elements of levels felt a little bit lost in the remaster. Now, this was only in a couple of instances, so it wasn't a huge deal, but the two main examples that pop into my head are the kind of well-hidden switch in the first hall of Tomb of Qualopec, which was quite difficult to find in the original because it blended in with the wall. In the remaster, it doesn't blend in with the wall at all, and it is very obvious and very easy to see. And then another example is the shadows that are supposed to be on the floor in St. Francis Folly in the Damocles challenge room, so you can see where all the swords are. They weren't visible in the remaster. So there were a few sections where the graphical updates slightly took away from challenges or puzzles, but this was very rare occasions. And again, I don't know if they've been fixed or changed with recent patches, but I did think it was something that I should at least mention because it is something that was on my mind. And then my final negative criticism of the remasters was that I felt like in a lot of cases they were very dark. I even had the brightness turned up on my playthroughs that I did on my channel, and even then I think a lot of the levels and videos still look quite dark. It was quite hard to see a lot of things. Again, don't know if it's been fixed in patches since, but initially to me a lot of the areas and parts of levels just looked really, really dark. But I do think that that's a general issue with modern games, is that they are made so dark. So they are my list of positive and negative things that I thought about the Tomb Raider Remastered. I just wanted this video to very much focus in on the remasters, so not reviewing the Tomb Raider games. I just really wanted to focus in on the remastered release and give all of my thoughts and opinions and reviews on that. So my final thoughts are, overall, I think this was an excellent remaster of the Tomb Raider games. Now, I do want to point out that I think personally Tomb Raider was always going to suffer slightly with a remaster and be a difficult set of games to remaster, based on the fact that these games were built with tank controls in mind, and they were built with blocks. Everything is set up in squares, so it was always going to suffer slightly from a remaster. It's very difficult to update the controls when every single jump and tricky maneuver requires you to precisely use tank controls. That was always going to be difficult. And then I know a lot of people had negative things to say about the blocky texture of a lot of the graphics and ledges and stuff like that in the remaster, but I feel like they couldn't really do anything about that because all of those ledges and edges were designed with the tank controls in mind, and you always need that straight flat line for Lara to grab. So to suddenly have her being able to grab maybe some curved edges where you've added in graphics and then not being able to grab other ones because they're just decorative, that would have been confusing. So I do think this remaster was always going to be a little bit tricky, but I think that the team did an amazing job, and they did probably the best job that could have been done with these games. I honestly feel like we couldn't have asked for more from these remasters, apart from the small few little negative things that I mentioned. But in general, I don't think we could have asked for or hoped for more than what we got with these, and I said it in, I believe, the first video that I did on the remasters, and I will say it again now. Playing the remasters felt like I was playing Tomb Raider how it was always supposed to be. And for a die-hard classic Tomb Raider fan like me to say that, I think that really says it all and really shows what a great job they did. And I do just want to quickly answer 2 different questions that I got a lot throughout my playthrough of the games, and I promised that I would answer in my review. So a lot of people asked me what was my favorite and least favorite levels in the Tomb Raider remaster. And again, I'm selecting these levels not on what's my favorite Tomb Raider level, as in, you know, gameplay and level design and all of that. I'm answering this, what was my favorite and least favorite level in the remaster. So keeping the remastered graphics in mind for my selections. So in the remaster, my favorite level was without a doubt Furnace of the Gods from the Golden Mask. My jaw literally almost hit my desk when I saw that glittering gold. I can't even explain how happy that made me. I thought this level was so beautifully remastered. I thought for me this was the level that really benefited the most from a remaster. Definitely that was the biggest shock for me. It got the biggest reaction from me when I was playing. I was in awe of this level. I would go back and play this level over and over and over again. It was just so beautifully done. So for me, that was the best remastered level. My least favorite level in the remasters is probably not going to be a surprise to anyone. It's to do with my fear. So of course it was Lud's Gate. I did not appreciate that horrible underwater section being made even worse with more realistic looking crocs and frogmen and the water, and no thank you. That was awful. Never again. And also, just putting my fear aside for a moment, in general, I just felt that the level looked pretty much the same as in the original. You know, there was nothing amazing or cool added to it. That's not a slight against the team or anything. I don't honestly know what could have been added to it. It is a very dull and samey kind of level anyway, in my opinion. So yes, that's just the level that I was the least impressed with and the least happy with in the remaster. And then people were asking which was my favorite remastered game out of the trilogy, and I have to go with Tomb Raider 1. I feel like in general, Tomb Raider 1 really benefited from that remaster. Atlantis was, oh my god, amazing. So disgusting and gross. I loved it. The sky added in when you went out into Lost Valley. Oh my god, if I could experience that all over again, I would. As I said, the addition of her braid, and I think it's probably because Tomb Raider 1 has, of course, the worst graphics of all the classic games because it was released first. So for me, the improvement in that game was just unbelievable, and Tomb Raider 1 always holds a special place in my heart because it was not only the first ever Tomb Raider game that I played on PS1, it was the first ever PS1 game that I played. So it will always just be so special and so nostalgic to me, and just seeing it brought to life like that and seeing all of these additions and all of the things done that you just know the core team at the time would have loved to have done if they had had the graphical abilities to do it. It was just amazing, and that was definitely, I think, the most enjoyable one for me and just the most surprising and amazing. Okay, so that is my review of the remasters. I hope you enjoyed that. I tried to keep it just as short and concise as possible. I'm so excited to start the whole remastered process all over again in a couple of weeks with the second set that are coming out. I will of course be playing through those on the channel again. A lot of people have asked for my reaction to those, and I honestly don't really know what to say except for I'm excited. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see what Egypt looks like and the whole of Last Revelation, basically. Well, the whole thing is Egypt. So I can't wait to see what that game looks like. I'm really excited to see the Ireland levels in particular, of course, in Chronicles, and see what amazing things I hope they do with those, because I've always thought that those Ireland levels had such potential to be so creepy and eerie. So I'm really hoping that they've gone all out with the remaster, but we'll see. And most of all, I am so looking forward to Angel of Darkness. You guys know I have such a soft spot, a special place in my heart for Angel of Darkness. I call it the beautiful disaster of a game. It's one of my favorite Tomb Raider stories, and I'm always so sad that it was released unfinished and all of that. If you want to hear all about that, check out my Angel of Darkness playlist, because I do go into what happened and all of that in detail in those videos. Hearing that they're not only remastering Angel of Darkness, but they're restoring. So they're restoring a lot of deleted areas. They are restoring her dual pistols. I heard that they're including deleted dialogue. Like, they're doing a lot of work. I think they're patching a lot of the control issues and bugs and different things. So I am bursting to see Angel of Darkness and what they have done with that game. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. As always, a massive thank you to my amazing channel members. Without all of your support, this channel would not run, and I am so grateful to all of you. All of the channel member names will be displayed on the screen at the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in Last Revelation Remastered very soon.
Don't you think you've seen enough?